But see, as far as the Republicans go, they too have not been able to figure out a way to come together. For example, on the whole Congressman Ryan's budget proposal and the way to fix it. People are, now when they're being asked to stand up for it or not, many of them are running away from it because they're so afraid about what the implications come re-election and what the voters are going to say if they are seen as people who are going to cut and touching, the sacred programs of Medicare and Social Security, things like that.
It's really all about Medicare. But you were referencing the New York Times front page today. Did anyone read the article about Medicare and how they are going to now start to penalize or reward hospitals for basically how much they spend per patient? Now, just let's think about that. What does that really mean? What is the incentive for a hospital now? Going forward, the hospital's incentive is to cut back on treatments expenditures per patient. Anyone who thinks that Medicare is going to go forward as we've seen it is out of their mind. It is done. It is over, and it's going to change completely in the next 10 years. And so whether it's a really serious sort of systematic overhaul such as Ryan is proposing, or whether it's this little nicking and cutting that basically is what Obamacare contains, forget it. It's not going to be the same. And by the way, here's something that I think is interesting. It seems to me Ryan's plan kind of, if you follow it through its logical end game, allows for some sort of means testing, which isn't that at the end of the day what's going to happen with Social Security and Medicare? I mean, the country wants people to be taxed more if there's a certain income level. What's the difference between that and asking them to pay more for their medical treatment as a senior? And I think we could all say, look, if you have $2 billion in the bank, do you really need full sway with Medicare? No, you don't. So if you're getting vouchers, a la Ryan's plan, doesn't that kind of eventually lead us to the thought that, well, wait a minute, if you have a certain income, your voucher's worth less. You get less of a voucher. You know what's going to happen, right? So, I mean, I think it's just sort of ultimately unbelievably hypocritical of the Democrats to be so opposed to this when it could actually lead into the kind of change that they'd like to see.
That they would like to see. How much of what we're talking about right now and the things that we say are so critical in terms of keeping this country together are going to be essentially put on hold in a presidential year as we get closer and closer to the primaries?
But, yeah, plenty. I mean, it'll be the poll of the day. I mean, the politicians' day is almost basically dictated by what the numbers were that they got that morning, and that's where they're going to run. Wherever they can run to get reelected for the lifer politicians who like to be in D.C., that's where they're going to go. That's what always happens.
I mean, it just seems to me that given the fact that we've got this new Congress, we've got the presidential contest right at our doorstep, so much of what it seems like they're all going to be at loggerheads because people that are going to want to push for change and to do something maybe just right up against the sense of what's going on politically and not be able to do anything. Their hands may be tied.
I think the only little difference, at least to me, is the Tea Party, because basically that's an entire group of people that don't care about if they keep their zip code in the next election.
The question is, what kind of momentum do they have right now, and how are they going to move forward and sort of, I guess, build on what they've been able to do to this point and be taken seriously?
Well, I think that's a really interesting, I think that is the interesting question of this election. The Tea Party seems to me to have really come together in an incredibly energized, sort of cohesive way, and it's being fractured.
Yes.
Why? A lot of these people are 60 years old. A lot of them are worried about Medicare. They're not really sure that they want this strict cutting of debt and so forth to apply to their programs.
That's right.
That's where we are.
That's the reality.
And so I think you're going to have either sort of reconstituted Tea Party that says, look, we understand that that's an issue. We're going to have a solution for it. It may be the Tea Party has to become a little more structured. They may have to have a platform. They may have to have, an organization. So far, it really hasn't had much of one.